Mr. Farrell came to the door of my physics classroom and requested to speak with me in a somber tone. I could almost feel the disappointment. The summons to see Mr. Farrell was frightening enough, but an in-person request to speak to you in the middle of class filled me with trepidation. I got up from my desk, mind racing as to what alleged misdeed of mine had been discovered. My classmates mumbled in hushed tones, no doubt delighting in the spectacle. We silently proceeded down the hall to this very cafeteria, and to my shock, sat down and had a wonderful impromptu discussion on life, school, and whatever else was on my mind. He just wanted to chat, knowing of course that physics was my least favorite class. I'm sure he got no enjoyment in making me fear for my life. I solemnly returned to the classroom, maintaining the appearance of having been properly reprimanded. From time to time, though not too often to impact my learning of the wonders of physics or raise any suspicion, Mr. Farrell would return to the classroom door and request an audience. I like to think our conversations matured over the years, though we always seem to be most content on the safe ground of religion and politics. In the years since graduation, I always try and stop by the Farrell household whenever I'm in town, excited for a lively discussion. Despite whatever interval of time has passed, it always feels like a second home. I stride into the back door, armed with some sarcastic comment, and find Mr. Farrell relaxing comfortably on the couch, usually half sitting or completely horizontal, television on, an image of perfect contentment. Although I will say I have yet to muscle an adequate response to the unnecessarily strong handshake. Though Mr. Farrell is a quiet leader, when he speaks, we listen. Back when he was the varsity basketball coach, Memorial was playing a certain rival at home. Our student section began a rather ugly chant directed at the opposing team and its fans. To the shock of many in the gym, including myself, Mr. Farrell grabbed the microphone in the middle of the game and reprimanded the entire student section. "We don't do that here, we're better than that," he boomed. The gym was silent. Mr. Farrell has never been afraid to stand up for what is right, even in the most difficult and public of circumstances. His example is something I've always tried to emulate. Jack Farrell and I have been the closest friends since high school, where we met on the freshman basketball team. Despite my very public failures as a point guard, our friendship has been a constant throughout high school, through attending different colleges, and through incredible adversity. During Jack's hospitalization in Chicago and Milwaukee, I got to know a very different side of Mr. Farrell. Beneath that strong, confident face of this institution is a man with a deep and profound love for his family. I will never forget seeing Mr. Farrell standing at Jack's bedside in Chicago. I had never seen a more strong and certain man humbled by the love for his son. In this most difficult of times, in face of desperate uncertainty, Mr. Farrell never let us believe that Jack would lose that fight. He didn't, and for that I'm eternally grateful. In his career, personal life, and everyday interactions, Mr. Farrell is a man of integrity, honor, and modesty. He is the type of role model that is increasingly rare in our society. He does not seek accolades, but instead leads by example and tries to live a simple, honest, and just life. This is the man we celebrate this evening, despite his probable discomfort with this deserving praise. I once asked Mr. Farrell why he didn't travel more, see the world with Mrs. Farrell, and instead chose to watch every possible Cubs game on the same couch in the same room. Mr. Farrell looked at the television, remote in hand, with a sly smile, and said, "This is my passport to the world." Perhaps now, with nothing but time, and the Cubs in no fear of ever being relevant, he will in fact travel the world. Knowing Mr. Farrell, however, I think it will